Hello and welcome to the next section of this lecture. We will configure the strict firewall rules and we will explore and see how rules are processed on the pfSense appliance. So first of all, what we'll do is we will apply some strict rules on the WAN interface and allow only the traffic from the 192.168.0.0/24 address to be accepted on the EM0 ports on left, right, and top pfSenses. So let's do that. Go to rules, go to WAN interface. We will add any traffic to be accepted from WAN network to WAN address. Click save, remove the old rule, and apply changes. We'll also repeat this process for the rest of the devices. So any traffic from source address WAN network and destination address WAN address. And also we will remove the old rule. And for the top pfSense, we'll perform the same thing. Source is WAN network and destination address is WAN address. And remove the old rule. And the firewall filters are resetted, and you can see that the traffic is incrementing on the new policy that we added. So it means that it works. But the next thing that we want to do is to allow traffic from the OSPF network to be allowed in the DHCP network and vice versa, and deny all other traffic. For example, from PC7 to DHCP domain and from PC7 to OSPF domain. So on the left, pfSense will go to aliases and we will group multiple IP addresses. And we'll call it local IPs. And we'll add the hosts which are in our local network. As you can see, I am selecting only the host address. I am not selecting the whole network. And we also create another alias. We will call it DHCP network. The IP addresses will be 192.168.0.255.0/24. In this case, we'll use the network subnets. We have 100.100.100.0/24 and 200.200.200.0/24. I will hit save and apply the changes. Now if I go to firewall, to rules, I will apply this rule on the LAN interface. Basically on pfSense, you apply the rules on the interface which will receive the traffic. So in our case, I should apply this rule to the LAN interface to allow the outgoing traffic. And I would also want to modify this rule so it would accept OSPF, because we are running OSPF there. Okay, so now adding the rule, I will add it on the LAN interface because this would be the source interface which will generate traffic, and my source IP address will be the local IP's alias. It basically will use all the addresses configured in that alias, and DHCP network would be the destination. And I want to allow only ICMP. Let's check if the OSPF is still running. And it appears to be running, so all good. Now we applied the rule on the LAN interface, and basically the traffic should work outbound. But the problem is that when the traffic will reach the right pfSense, it will be dropped because it is accepting only the WAN network and the WAN address. One traffic that might work is the traffic from PC3 to destination to this destination, because this rule was created automatically when we added the port forward rule. So for example, if I go to PC3 and if I'll ping PC in VLAN 100, let me just find the window, and if I'll ping 100.100.100.100, my ping would work because I have that rule applied over here under firewall and rules. I also can remove this rule, as this rule was automatically created when I added NAT. So for example, if I remove it and if I attempt to do another ping, as you can see, the ping will not work. So I need to fix that, and I need also to create aliases. And here I have the alias for the OSPF network. I have added the whole subnet, and I will create another alias for local IPs. We have 192.168.255.10/32. I will also add 100.100.100.100/32, and I will add the 200 address /32. Save, apply. We'll go to the WAN and we'll add the rule here. The reason why I'm doing this is, as I said, the rule should be applied on the interface which will receive traffic, and in case of the right subnet, or in the case of the right pfSense, the traffic will be received on the WAN. So the source address would be OSPF network, and the destination address would be local IPs. Should go ahead and save this, and let's check if the ping works now. And it works like a charm, which means that we added the rule correctly. But in case that we want to access the resources on OSPF side, and for example that if from PC in VLAN 100 we will ping the PC1 from OSPF network. As you can see, it has a timeout. And this is happening because on the left pfSense, under firewall rules, we are accepting only the WAN network and the WAN address, which means that we also have to add a rule here. And this time for the source address, we will use the DHCP network alias which we created, and for the destination address, we'll use local IPs which we have created. Let's run the ping again. And it would still not work. You need to find why, to find out why. For example, let's go to the lab pfSense, check the routing, and check the static routes. I can see that I have the static routes necessary, and if I go to the right pfSense and check the routes, what I can see is that I don't have a route for PC1. Let me check the BGP status. And from here I can see that we are receiving the correct route. And for example, if I go ahead and ping 1.1.1 from here, my ping works perfectly fine, which would mean that there is a problem here on the right pfSense. And if I check the firewall rules, and if I check the VLAN 100 and VLAN 200, I can see that I have rules which are not denying any traffic. Which would mean that the problem should be somewhere on the left pfSense. And if I check the rules and the DHCP network, should I be able to see the 100 IP addresses which are allowed, and which means that the traffic should pass freely through here. So it would look like that I'm missing something. Let's go to the left pfSense. I activate the SSH. Should start working anytime soon. Go to shell and I will perform a TCP dump on EM0 interface, and I will filter by PC1 IP address. which means that I have to check the BGP right now to see from where I'm receiving the 1.1.1. And it would say that the next hop is 172.16.0.1, but it is not correct because right pfSense cannot reach that next hop. If I go to neighbors, I will add a next hop self here. And if I'll check again the BGP here, I should have the correct next hop added. And if I check the ping, it should start working perfectly. Also, as I said, if we go to PC7 and the PC7 is not yet configured, we have to go to the top pfSense and configure the LAN interface 192.168.1.1. So let's configure quickly the PC7 2/24 192.168.1.1. I will save it, and EM1 pfSense is using a default route which is going to my home router, but I want to change this behavior, and I want the default route to go to 254 router, which is the BGP router. And I also want to check the routes which I have here. And let me change the default behavior for this one. Next hop self, I will enable it. And from the BGP router, I know how to reach this network and the 255 network, which is VLAN 1. So if I ping 1.1.1.1, you can see that my traffic is not working, and which is normal. Also, this one will not work. But I think I have to change the default behavior here also. I will send it to 254. And on the right pfSense, the default route should be to 254. It was 1 because I needed it to reach my home router in order to be able to download the packages. Now that the packages are downloaded, I don't need it anymore. So I can try again, and I can see that it is not working, which is normal because I have rules which shouldn't allow this to happen. But let's check another thing. If I add a rule which will deny the traffic from any to any. And if I use my rule just before the other rule, I will put it right here just to have this rule on top to not get locked out. And now if I go to the left devices, for example, if I go to PC1 and if I'll try to ping 100.100.100.100, what I can see that my ping is not working. But the moment I will switch this rule and I will add it on the bottom, if I'll check, the ping will start working right away. And if I move it here, the ping will stop working. So which means that pfSense will analyze the firewall rules from top to bottom. So whichever rule is on the top of the stack will have the most priority. And for example, if you have this rule which will deny all traffic on the top of the rule stack, then all the traffic will be dropped by default, because this rule have the source and destination and port and everything it has any. So every traffic will match this rule and will get dropped. So it's a good idea that you categorize your rules in order which you want them to be processed. So that's it for the firewall rules. No, we also can have separators. We can use the separators to organize better the rules, but still the rules will be processed from top to bottom. Thank you for attending, and I will see you in the next one.